Hi friends, welcome back to my Cozy Crafty Cabin. My name is Rayanne. Today is day 4 of my 12 Days of Christmas in July crafty series, and today we're going to be making some gift wrap accessories using 12 by 12 paper. So since it's day 4, we're going to make 4 different types of gift wrap accessories, so including gift bags, gift boxes, bows, and gift tags. And now there are several ways to make these kinds of things, but I'll share with you my go-to methods for making them. Okay, so let's get started with making a gift bag. I'm using single-sided 12 by 12 paper to make these gift bags, and they just turned out really cute. It's this really kind of small size, so for a small gift, or like treats, even like a gift card, or maybe like a necklace, or a jewelry gift, something like that. I think this one in particular that I made ended up being about like 4 inches by a little over 4 inches tall and a little over 1 inch deep maybe. But I'll walk you through the steps of how to make a gift bag. And basically, you're just gonna fold your paper and glue. I do make one score line in the beginning, but otherwise I don't use my scoreboard. I came across this method, I think on Pinterest. If I find the pin, I'll share it in my description. But basically just like a quick way of making a gift bag without having to really do measurements and scoring and things like that. So that's the method I'm going to share in today's video. So for this mini size gift bag, I'm using a piece of paper that measures 6 by 12 inches. And I'm just going to make one score line to get us started, which is at 3/4 inches on the 6-inch side. And I do this just because I wanted to have a nice straight crisp edge for the top of our gift bag. But then the rest I don't worry too much about it being, perfect. So next I flip my paper over so the back side, or what will be the inside of the gift bag, is facing up towards me, and then I take one end and I fold it towards the middle of the 12-inch side. It doesn't have to be exact, so no worries if you're a little more or less past the middle. Then I take the other end, and you want to fold it so that it meets the other end of your paper but overlaps it about 1/4 inch or so, just enough space where you can add your adhesive or glue. And you're going to want to use a bone folder throughout this process so you get your paper just nice and crisp and folded. So once I've made these initial folds, I then add a little adhesive to just the far left and far right ends of that top border tab so that it stays down. And then I add adhesive along the edge to get what will be the back of our gift bag glued together, so where those two ends overlap in the middle. Next, we're going to work on the bottom of our gift bag. So first, you're going to take the bottom and fold it upwards towards the top of your gift bag. And I don't think there's any right or wrong here with how far you want to fold this. It just depends on how wide or deep you want your bag to be. But once you get that first fold nice and creased, then you're going to open up the bottom and press it down from each of the corners so that it forms a triangle, as you'll see. And you're going to want to try to line up those score lines with each other that I try to show you on camera. So once those are creased down, you're going to fold up the bottom piece and then fold down the top piece, both towards the middle, and have them overlap just a little so that you can glue them together later. Before we glue together the bottom of the gift bag though, we're going to make 2 more folds, which creates the side panels of our gift bag. So you basically are going to fold over the left side so that it creates this nice straight edge and square corner at the bottom of the gift bag. And then you'll do the same exact thing on the right side. And definitely use a bone folder here. It gets quite thick with all the layers of paper. So once our sides are folded, I then like to glue down the bottom of the gift bag. Okay, now that our gift bag is pretty much assembled, we're gonna just kind of fidget with it a little bit. So now you can open up your gift bag, and I like to put my hand inside and gently push out those bottom corners. And then you can just adjust your side panels. That middle crease, how it is now, is kind of like folded out. And we want it to be folded in. So you kind of like pinch those side panels together and get that middle crease to fold inside the bag. Then all that's left to do is to punch our holes at the top, and you can add some ribbon or twine to make your handles. Now this bag ended up being like, I think about like 4 inches wide and like 4¼ inches tall and like around 2 inches deep. So just a cute little mini gift bag where you can add like treats and, you know, a small gift, maybe like jewelry, or, you know, it could be like a crafty gift too, like some washies or stamps. I think that would be really cute. Or even like some gift cards or cash, you know. But just a cute little fun size. Now, of course, you can make a taller gift bag if you use like a full 12 by 12 sheet of paper rather than a 6 by 12. Okay, so next we're going to make a gift box. I'm going to use a 12 by 12 piece of paper from this Holiday Bash Hot Buy paper pad. And I'm actually going to cut it down a little because I'm going to cut off this bottom part that says "Party like Santa is not watching." I think that'll be a cute, actually, just kind of like card front, or, you know, like cover for a card. So I'm going to cut this paper down to 8 inches, so it'll be 8 by 12 inches when we go to make our box. Now listen, I don't know if I'll be able to articulate the best like the math behind how to determine where to like score your paper and all that for when you make a box. But it is super, super easy and simple. So hopefully I'll be able to explain it well. I'm kind of starting backwards here because like you might normally start from like, okay, what size box do I need? Like how, how many inches wide, how many inches tall, how many inches deep? And then from there determine, okay, what size paper do I need? But I'm kind of working backwards where I have my paper cut, so it's 8 by 12 inches, and then I'm going to determine what size. Well, first I want to determine how deep do I want it to be, which I'm just going to do 1 inch, and then from there I'll determine what size box I'll actually end up making, and then where I need to make my score lines. So the type of box I'm making is like all one piece, right? Like the bottom and the lid are all one piece. So I'm going to make my width the shorter side of my 8 by 12 piece because I just have to take off 1 inch on the left and 1 inch on the right to make our 1 inch deep sides. So that's how I get, I know my 8-inch piece will become 6 after I make those folds. And then for the height, we're going to take off 3 inches because we're going to have like, instead of 2 sides, there's going to be 3 sides. Like the opening, the top of the box, it's going to be a top folding box, and then the closing. So that's where I get my 9 from the 12. And since we're making the bottom and lid in one, we're going to divide that in half because we're going to have 2 sides, like 2 pieces, that have the height. So that's where I get the 4.5 inches. So the box is going to end up measuring 4.5 inches tall by 6 inches wide, and it's going to be 1 inch deep. So that's going to be, again, like I'm thinking of it as like a top folding box. So we're going to score at 1 inch, however deep you want your box to be, that's going to be like how much you're going to score. I hope that makes sense. So on the 8-inch side, we're going to make our sides of the box basically. So, and those are going to be 1 inches deep. So we're going to take off 1 inch on each side. So you're going to score at 1 inch and 7 inches. And then you're going to do the same thing on the 12-inch side where you take off 1 inch on each side. So that's where you get your 1 inch score line and your 11-inch score line. And then how you figure out that middle score line is you take whatever is half of that length of paper. So in this case, it's 12 inches. So the half is 6. But to get our 1 inch depth, you're going to like split that. So that's where I get the 5.5 inches and 6.5 inches. So the middle of the paper is 6 and we need a 1 inch depth. So we're going to split that 1 inch. We're going to do half less than 6 and half more than 6, the 5.5 inches and the 6.5 inches. I don't know if that makes sense. Again, it makes sense in my head, but I wasn't sure exactly how to articulate it. Once you make all your score lines and fold down on all those score lines, you're then going to have these like 3 squares that form on the left edge and right edge on that 12-inch side. And those we're going to turn into like our tabs that we then tuck in to form our box. So I like to cut at an angle to make these tabs. So what I just do to do that is I just fold over the paper on that score line where I'm going to make the cut. And I cut out like a little triangle. I just cut down from the edge of the paper to that 1 inch score line, and I'm cutting at an angle, and I'm cutting out like a little triangle. So we're going to do this at each score line along, that 12-inch side of our paper up to that 1 inch score line, and it's going to form these 3 tabs. We're going to do it on the left side and then also the same thing on the right side. So you'll have the 6 tabs all together that we'll tuck in to form our box. And yeah, once you make all those cuts and you have your tabs ready, then you're going to add adhesive to like I like to fold them over and I add adhesive to what the outside of your box is going to be. So in this case, since it's single-sided paper, it's like the pink side of the paper. That's where I add my adhesive, and then you fold them to assemble your box. You glue them down to the longer tabs along the edge, and that forms like the walls, the sides and the walls of the box. And really the last thing I do is then I just take my little circle punch and I eyeball like the middle of the top lid, and I punch out like a half a circle, and this just helps like you open the box easier. Okay, next we're gonna make some gift tags, and I'm using paper from this Holiday Bash Hot Buy paper pad again. I'm using that, I feel like, I don't know if Michael still does this with their Hot Buys, but I feel like a lot of the old Hot Buys had these papers where it's like strips of, you know, showing the different patterns that are in the paper pad. Anyways, I thought these would actually like be cute for making the bows. So what I'm doing to making the bows, and guys, this is the first time I've made paper bows. I happen to have this Fiskars gifting board, this punch board, and I use it all the time for envelopes, but it also makes bows, and it makes boxes. It's like a Chinese takeout style box. So this makes it, I mean, you can just you can make a bow with your scissors, but I use this board since I had it and I hadn't tried before. It has like a simple bow guide of, okay, how long to cut your paper and where to line up your paper to punch out the little notches to make the bow. So you're essentially just using like the envelope punch, and it punches out the little notches, and then you fold your paper where those notches are, and it forms just a very simple paper bow. So I do like how they turned out. I think it's really cute how you could then just like make coordinating bows and tags and all that with like the same paper pad. It just makes it just extra cute in my opinion. But it was a really, you know, easy, quick and simple process. I did end up tying some ribbon around the center of the bows. I think that just made it look cuter in my opinion. And I think that it would be cute too to take like a skinny scrap of paper to wrap it around as well. I think that'd be cute. But that is it for these bows. Okay, next we're going to make some gift tags. I'm also going to use that like strip paper from the holiday bash, but then I also ended up pulling out from my other 12 by 12 paper pad some tag, because I already had pre-made tags. That's like the cut aparts that came with this paper pad. And so since I made some boxes using this paper, I figured, okay, let me pull out a few of the tag cut aparts. And the paper is kind of thin though, or it's on the thinner side, so I ended up just like tracing them over some cardstock and added and glued that down to the tags to make them just nice and sturdy, and then added my ribbon. And then to make the tags with this paper from the holiday bash, I just decided, okay, which, section of the paper did I want to use? I cut it down. I ended up making my tags 2 inches wide, so I made 6 altogether. And I didn't really like measure these. I feel like you can make tags in any sizes, and they'll be cute, like mini ones, big ones, whatever. But for my gift tags, what I like to do, especially if I'm just using kind of normal scrapbook like pattern paper, it could tend to be on like the flimsy side sometimes. So to make it kind of extra sturdy on the top of the tags where you go to punch your hole, I like to either like take a scrap of paper and wrap it around, or you can just simply fold over, part of the top. So I'm not sure how much, I didn't really measure it. It might be like a 1/2 inch or so that I folded down. What I based it off on was like actually like that gold foiling. I wanted to go like kind of in the middle of that so that I had some on the top of the front and then that scalloped edge on the back. So I just scored, I eyeballed kind of like around the middle, and then yeah, that's the part that I folded over, and then you simply just have to glue that down, and then you punch your hole and add your ribbon or twine, and there you go. Oh, and then I do like to round my corners as well, but if you have a tag punch, you can use a tag punch as well. But yeah, super simple, but again, just like a super cute way to make like coordinating, all your coordinating gift wrap accessories. You can have matching tags and bows, and you can have a cute little box or bag, and yeah, it just makes it extra special. So here's everything I ended up making. I have 2 of these like mini size gift bags, and then see how cute it is with like a coordinating tag from the paper pad. I just think that looks so cute. And then here's like a top, this is where I used a full 12 by 12 sheet, so following the same process, just a larger size, you know, piece of paper. But yeah, you can have like a coordinating tag. And here is what I made from the Holiday Bash paper pad. So I used one of those full size sheets, but I had to kind of like do some trial and error with this one. But yeah, I made a bag using one of those like full image 12 by 12 sheets, which I thought turned out pretty cute. Here's the tags we made, the cute little bows, and then I just ended up making like the one little box that we did on camera. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video and this idea. I knew I wanted to try making some paper bows. But yeah, I'm trying to continue with that trend of like showing the number of things on like each day of Christmas for this series. So this is day 4, it's the 4th day of Christmas. So I was like, okay, what are like some other gift wrapping accessories I can do, right? So we did the bags, boxes, bows, and tags. But yeah, wouldn't this be cute? Like to wrap a little gift in one of the boxes, add ribbon and one of your coordinating bows. I just think that looks so cute. But anyways, I'll have my playlist linked in the description box for this series. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, for subscribing, all the support you've been sending my way. I appreciate it so, so much. Stay cozy, and I'll see you soon for the next one. Bye.